the church is going to be the line. It's going to be that moment where people intersect with a God that loves them. And in that moment, it's not going to be about empty religion. It's not going to be about empty experiences. It's not going to be about a church space. It's not going to be about just a bunch of ministries that exist. It's going to be about a group of people that are radically transformed by a relationship with Jesus. We came across a scripture in John where it was talking about Jesus and how he met a lady who was in sin, living in a world that was exposed by sin and all the different elements of that. And we thought about that for a moment, how that Jesus, in that conversation, looks at her and says, "Now where are your condemners? Neither do I condemn you. Now go and sin no more." And in the moment of having that conversation, the moment of having that reality, we came up with this idea of that's the line. And I wanted to create a space that was safe for unchurched to come hear about Jesus. I wanted to create a space where people could come in and they could be who they were and hear that message that I heard and be inspired and to see the world different. We sat down in our home and kind of worked through that conversation of who are we, what are we about? And I began to teach through John, where Jesus has these conversations, and began to teach through what it means to be a follower of Jesus, helping a group of people begin to see there is a life that is so much bigger than just the American dream.
I hear all the time people that I might say, "Hey, come check us out, come to the church," and 9 times out of 10 the answer is, "I'm not good enough," or I can't go to church, I'm a terrible person. And I just say, so am I.
Who we are as a line church is, we come in and we are broken, and there's a freedom to express your brokenness. There's a freedom to express your imperfection. There's a freedom to kind of come in and go, I'm not having a good day.
Yeah.
But within that, we don't just stop there.
Ultimately, it's about pointing people to Christ and us gathering together to worship, worship our Creator. When you look at the relationship of Christ and the church, which He calls His bride, Christ instituted His church on this earth so that His love and His sacrifice could be lived out in the example of His church. People don't know who Jesus is, but His church points them to Him.
I would say with that, it's one is people coming broken, but it's also a place of restoration.
Yeah.
That within brokenness, there can be a sense of, I'm becoming complete again. I'm finding my identity that I lost. I'm finding the vision that wasn't there. I'm finding the hope that I didn't have. I'm seeing my marriage begin to get put back together. I'm seeing my job begin to get better. Not because it's getting better, but because God's doing a work inside of me. That's the line that those who know Christ, who've been exposed to Christ, come into contact with. The line that He calls us to go be different from what we were when we first engaged Him. In spite of our guilt, in spite of our shame, in spite of the fact that apart from knowing Him, we're really horrible people.
And we aren't worthy of proclaiming His name, but yet He has called us to do so, and that's a grace that is profound and it's honoring. So to say that we know where we're going, completely know, that's probably a lie, because we don't exactly know, but we plan. What we do want and what we plan on doing is reaching the community of Harrisburg and Northeast Charlotte, the gospel, and continuing to provide the truth to them every Sunday morning and throughout the week through our different programs.
So where the Line Church is going is we're going on a grand adventure. We're going on an adventure that is marked with the things that the Christians of the past have dealt with. It's rejection from the world. It is to follow Christ in the midst of adversity. It's do you choose to have the sufferings of Christ or the pleasures of life? We are a church that is focused on the gospel, and the gospel's been preached, whether it's exciting or whether it is convicting. We're going in a direction of we're going to go out and make disciples, as He told us to make disciples, knowing that making disciples isn't a clean process. That making a disciples means that we go have dinner with those that others would not have dinner with, that we sit with those that are hurt, that we spend time with those that are oppressed, that we pay attention to those that are hurting. He looks at us and He goes, I don't condemn you. I forgive you. I love you. And now I want you to sin anymore. Go be different. Go live this life. Go be in this world differently than what it was before you.